Hi, good morning. It's Christine Crutcher from Create with Christine. Thanks for tuning in for another Tea and Techniques episode. So glad to have you here this week. So I'm just going to talk for a minute or two so people can find me in their feed and join if they're going to join me live here this morning. So this morning I am actually going to demo a technique. I actually just learned it yesterday. So yesterday I attended a virtual retreat online with stampers from all over the country. So it was really fun. And here is the card we're going to make today. And I'm going to show you a technique with Stampin Blends. And I'm going to call it, just say the dot technique. It's super simple and easy. And like I said, I just learned it yesterday from another demonstrator, Bonnie from New York. And it's super fun. I have a huge mashup of products I'm going to use today. So I am using the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper from the mini catalog, the January to June mini catalog. So this one's got a ton of colors. So I just picked 3 colors, and then of those 3 colors, I'm also going to use Stampin Blends of those 3 colors. So I hope you had a great Easter and a good week. It's been an exciting week. We got my new catalog, the annual catalog that starts May 4th. So this came in the mail, and I do have some for my customers. So if you've ordered from me in the past 6 months, you'll be getting a catalog in the mail from me towards the end of April, very beginning of May. And let's see what else. Oh, I had the retreat yesterday, and my first pre-order box came yesterday. So I am using 2 stamp sets, Ornate Style for the little daisy, and this one's actually retiring, so I wanted to give this one feature before it retires in a couple weeks. And then of course the coordinating one that kind of goes with this is Ornate Thanks. Ornate Thanks is going to carry over to the new annual catalog for 2021-2022. So since Ornate Style doesn't have a sentiment, I just picked the kind of coordinating one. And of course I'm giving some love to my stitch shapes before they retire too, because I love them so much. So I'm going to point my camera down at my station, find myself in my feed, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so again, here's the card we're going to make today. Let me find myself. I don't know if I popped up or not. Okay, here I am. So again, here's the card, and I'm definitely using a mashup of products, and I am using, just to review, whoops, upside down, Ornate Style for the little daisy, and then Ornate Thanks. So this one, Ornate Thanks, is going to carry over to the new catalog. So, like I said, this is going to be super simple and quick, and I'm actually pretty tired because I did the virtual retreat yesterday, and I think it was more tiring because a lot of the content was on Facebook and on Zoom. So it was more tiring than an in-person retreat for me because it was a lot of looking at the computer and that sort of thing. And we're just getting over 3 days of it being 70 to 75 degrees here. So it was super beautiful out, and I wanted to get outside and enjoy the weather. So let's start and do all of our stamping. So I just have a piece of basic white, and this is 2.5 by 3.5, and I want to stamp my daisy, and then I'm going to cut it out with my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But I went ahead and I did that earlier, so you wouldn't have to watch me cut. So stamp your daisy. And then when you cut it out, this is the second largest stitched ovals, and this is what you end up with. And then the only other stamping on the card is the basic white 4 by 5.25. And I'm just gonna bring over my Pierce mat because so weird, these 2 stamp sets coordinate, but one is photopolymer and one is red rubber. So for my photopolymers, I always use my Pierce mat. Good morning, Dee. Thanks for tuning in. I'm actually not using the ornate dies this morning. That probably would have been a good idea, but I was on with the girls, I think, until 11 o'clock last night on Zoom, and that's way past my bedtime, even on a Saturday night, so it was a fun time. I don't know how many states we had represented, but we definitely had quite a few. Okay, so all my stamping is done, so I'm going to go back to my daisy and do the technique. So like I said, I learned this from somebody else, and I did some practicing even last night pretty late. And it's a dot technique with Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to use 3 different colors. I'm going to start with So Saffron for the middle. Then I'm going to add some Poppy Parade on my petals. And then I picked Old Olive for my leaf and my stem. So I'm just going to start So Saffron. And I'm going to start light. And I'm going to use kind of like the pencil, the narrower tip. And I am just going to dot with my Stampin' Blend. And then I'm going to bring over the dark. And then, I don't know, I might add a little bit more light. I'm actually not filling it in all the way. So let me bring it up a little closer to the camera. Hopefully that looks okay. I actually left a little bit of white space in there. I actually liked it with the white space. So let me show you. Hopefully you can kind of see this is the full card already done. It gives, you know, I think like an impressionist look, like the impressionist painters. So the person that demoed this did it on, used the stamp set, Sweet Sampler, I think it's called. Sorry, I'm blanking on the name right now. It's the host set in the January to June mini catalog, and she did demo it with the hydrangea and kind of like the blues and the purples, and it was super pretty. But I demoed that stamp set not that long ago, so I decided to pull out something that was retiring. So I'm just dotting with my light Poppy Parade, and then I'm going to come in with my dark Poppy Parade, and again I'm using the tiny little skinny end. Add some dark. I like the look of this, and I love to color. It's very therapeutic, and this is like so easy, you really cannot screw this up. So okay, I may have gone a little heavy on the dark, but and then I'm just going to kind of come back with the light, and like I said, I kind of liked it with a little bit of white space, so not filled in completely. So they also said that there's some fancy names, pointillism. I'm trying to think some of the other terminology some of the girls used yesterday. Okay, then I'm gonna, maybe like 2 more, 3 more. Okay, then I'm gonna stop. And I'll put a close-up of this on my blog. And I'll see it, I don't know if there's an original person that did this, so if I can find that out, I'll put that information too. So I'm just doing the leaf. This is the light Old Olive. So I'm putting my covers back on because the blends are alcohol markers and they will dry up. So you want to make sure you put your caps back on. Add a little bit dark Old Olive, and then I'm just going to kind of come back and fill in. So I picked the Art Gallery design, or the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper from the Art Gallery suite, because this is kind of like a, I'm just going to add a little bit of stem. I'm barely touching it, and it's a little bit dark. My stem on this stamp set stamps a little dark, so I'm okay with it. So since this is kind of an artistic look, I picked the kind of most artistic-y paper that I had in my stash. So let me get that out of the way. So I used the scrap paper just because the blends bleed through. This one actually didn't really even seem to bleed through, but you can see when I flip over. So I don't want to use the blends right on my table, or they potentially could bleed through to my table. So then let's just layer up the layers. This is a super easy card. Oh, I need to punch. I'm going to punch a banner. So these pieces of designer paper both come from the Fine Art Floral, and it's a busy paper. It's 12 by 12. So I just cut down. I decided to see how busy this one is on the back. So I decided to pick out the yellows. So Saffron. I think this has got a little bit of bumblebee in it too. And then this one, since it had a little bit of the poppy in the flowers, I decided to pick this one. So the larger piece is, let me see, 1.5 by 5 1/4, and then the tiny skinny piece is 1/2 by 5. And see, here's the back side. I think this is like a flirty flamingo. I'm gonna put it in my banners, pick a punch. This punch is actually carrying over to the new annual catalog. So I'm just gonna look at my ends. I don't wanna totally snip off all my poppy. So I picked 3 colors to focus on, right? So I'm focusing on the poppy, the old olive, and the saffron. So those were kind of like my primary colors. So let's get these pieces layered up. I am just gonna bring over my liquid glue. Good morning, Sandy. Thanks for tuning in this morning. So I should have replaced this, but it's getting low, but there's still some glue in here. Okay, and I probably should be looking at my placement. I also cut out a oval from the Stitch Shapes. This is the largest one, 3 by 4 for your Poppy Parade. So I probably should kind of get my alignment here. Okay, I'm gonna put my poppy on next. So sad that these dies are going out, but I got a UPS package yesterday with my pre-order, my first pre-order. And I think I have a new favorite set of dies. I have not played with them yet, but just by looking at them, I know I'm gonna love them. So I'm gonna put on my little banner next. So you'll notice I'm putting the banner in between the ovals, just for a different little effect. And then this guy, I'm gonna put him up on seal. Let me grab my seal. I put him on with liquid glue in the original, and I like seal for my white layers. You don't see any adhesive. Reminds me of I'm looking in an oval mirror and seeing a pretty flower. So then I have a Saffron card base, and I'm just gonna use my seal to go to the card base as well. So 8.5 by 11 piece of paper for the card base. This one I scored at 4 1/4, and then I cut it at 5 1/2. So you really need to kind of sort of commit and then put this down. And then I finished it off with a couple rhinestones. You could add ribbon if you had ribbon. Hey, good morning, Janine. Thanks for tuning in this morning. I just put a couple rhinestones up in the corner. So this is super simple. And let me show you. Let me show you this one up a little closer. Here's the kind of technique I did with the blends. Here was one of my practice. I did a couple when I was practicing. This one's got a little bit more on the dark side. And I don't know if I have a couple others, but here was the original that I made this morning. So this is a total fun technique. I hope you'll try it out if you have the Stampin' Blends in your stash. So, oh, good morning, Celine. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for a great day yesterday. And whoops, I think I was off the camera when I zoomed in there a little bit. So let me I want to grab my Stamp Camp. So if you joined in the beginning and saw the beginning, it was right over my shoulder is my stamp camp that is, registration is closing this week. So on Thursday, this Thursday, April 15th, registration is going to close for my well-suited stamp camp. So these are cards for masculine, all the guys in your life. So husbands, brothers, dads, sons. So I'm using the stitch shapes in this class one last time before it retires. So here's card number 1. Here is card number 2. So I'm using the handsomely suited, I guess, bundle, and then the coordinating paper, and then the coordinating twine. So this is a really fun class. It's kind of a little bit of everything. So birthday, Father's Day, and the little bow ties and stuff. It's super cute. So this class is 4 cards, and then I'm doing 1 box. And I actually decided to use the boxes from the Valentine's Suite, the Love You Always treat boxes, because these guys are really good sized. So if you were going to give, and you could totally mix up the sentiments. You could use this one for Father's Day. I'm going to give you all the pieces die cut and all the papers and the twine. So you'll have to add your stamps and your ink to finish them off. But you can add, if you don't have the handsomely suited bundle or the stamp set, you can add, substitute anything in your stash. So I'll post the details below on how to sign up for that. And if you're not on my mailing list and want to be on my mailing list for my classes, let me know. And I also should probably put the camera back up at my face because I think I'm going to finish out unless anybody has questions for me this morning. I'll bring the camera back up. Hey, good morning, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in. So for the class, it's $20 if you want the kit, and it's 5 projects. So the 4 cards and the 1 box. And let me tell you about this box. I probably shouldn't have brought the camera back up, but it holds a lot. It actually will hold like the liquid glue inside. It would hold, like for a man, a gift card, probably like a watch or something like that. So it's very good sized. So that's why I picked that. And okay, it's a little bit difficult to put together, but there's no adhesive. And once you know how to put it together, it really goes quick. So it's a no adhesive box. So with assembling it. So I do love that. And unfortunately, those are not carrying over. So those will retire. It's the Love You Always treat boxes, so they'll retire in June. So if you do want that class, it's $20 or free with a $30 order with my April host code, and I will put the details below, but my April host code is VZSW2WWW. So, oh, thanks so much for registering, Sandy. I did see that come through, so yay! So I got a couple people signed up, and again, registration will close Thursday for that, the 15th at noon. So if you want to sign up, make sure to register by then, and I'll be back next week with another project to share. Have a great week, everybody.